Today is Friday, September 17th. Today I'm going to be climbing Bernard and Mansell Mountains, sometimes called Bernard of Western, Mansell of Western, sort of the same complex. It's about 6 miles, should be a pretty simple loop, but there's lots of cross paths, so there may be a lot of signage. I'll try to be very clear about the route, and I'll probably post a map, but should be a simple loop straight up. I'm right next to Long Pond right now. It's beautiful. Looking forward to being out there. And yeah, it's been a while because I had a back strain and then some bad weather, so I got to catch up. So good to do 2 mountains today. So I hope this will be useful. I don't know that it will be useful on mobile phones, but if you have a big computer, you can see the picture. I start out at the pond, follow the perpendicular trail up to Mansell, follow the Bernard Mountain Trail, first to Great Notch, then to Little Notch. From there, I tagged the summit of Bernard and came back to Little Notch. Then I followed this trail, which is the Sluiceway Trail, until I got to this little juncture here. And then a very short way over, I went and then I got on the Gilley Trail. And I followed the Gilley Trail down and down and down until I got to the turnabout there for the Brook Trail. And then I followed that back to the pond and back to the car. So that was my route today. So I parked right by the pond. You can see it says no swimming, but I think we used to go swimming here. I think we used to go off that cliff by that house over there. Anyhow, I'm gonna climb up and see if I can't find the trail. Directly behind the little, I don't know what to call it, water house, boathouse structure is the Long Pond Trail to Mansell and Bernard. So here we go. So a lovely walk along the edge of Long Pond. Not very far. I don't believe it's half a mile. It takes you to this sign, Perpendicular Trail, Mansell Mountain, Great Notch, Long Pond Trail, and there's some steps. So here we go, up the steps. So it's pretty steady going up, but there's these steps that are carved sort of very naturally into the path, and they just go up and up and up. It's pretty neat. You almost don't notice them if you weren't actually on the path. It'd be kind of camouflage and blend in, but it's pretty extraordinary. I can't imagine building this. It's really quite stunning to be walking up this. Because if the path wasn't here, it would just be a side of a cliff, strewn rocks and boulders, but it's really no more difficult than climbing stairs, which is extraordinary. Beautiful. Kind of hard to see in the picture maybe, but it kind of switchbacks back and forth up this essentially pile of rubble all the way up there. What's that down there, eh? I think I can see the car from here. So a pretty spectacular climb up these stones. Very steep though. And then we come to some wetness, water, and some rungs. So you definitely have to not be afraid of heights. Not a path for kids or dogs, but wonderful, really challenging kind of up here and just beautiful. This is kind of neat. It gets more wooded as you go on, but here's a sheer cliff, just a large expanse of granite going up and up and up. So I think we're going around this and we'll get to the other side. So approaching the top of Mansell. So it's just wonderful to have the light. I feel like it's autumn lighting, and these stone steps that seem so old going up into the forest. I'm choosing today to believe it's a Hobbit, Lord of the Rings vibe, and not a Tales of Cthulhu vibe. Maybe next month. It's time for another leg minute. I met these people right at the beginning of the trail. They were confused and the sign was a little ambiguous. And I showed them my map and said, well, I'm going to go down there and get on the trail. And they said, well, we walked half a mile and we didn't see the trail, so we're going to go this other way. I said, good luck to you. And then I followed the map, and sure enough, I came to the trail, and here we are. Don't know what happened to them. Probably lost. So it just got me thinking how a lot of things are like that. You know, if you get a good map and some common sense, it makes more sense to listen to that than somebody else who says, well, I walked on that trail half a mile. I don't believe it was half a mile. I believe it was about less than a third, probably like a tenth of a mile. So they just didn't miss it or weren't looking. So trust your own judgment and a good map. This has been Leg Minute. There's a little stream coming right down the mountain, and this is like a little bridge made out of rocks. So it's pretty neat how much time and effort went into this. Is astounding. Maybe because I haven't been hiking in almost a month, but it's just astounding how beautiful everything is, and the trees. There's this quiet stream coming down from the mountain, and the steps just keep going, and they're just carved right into the side of the mountain. It's just beautiful up here. Wonderful autumn day. Nearing the top of Mansell, it's just fabulous views up here. I don't know why more people talk about that. You can see Beach Mountain right across the way. There's a little fire station on top of it, and the mountains beyond. So it is just gorgeous up here. I haven't met a soul on the perpendicular trail, but we're gonna keep going. Next stop, Mansell Summit, then Bernard. Climbing up the trail, ran into my coworkers, small island, met a couple dogs. So here we are at Mansell, having met my coworkers, which is pretty weird. It is a small island.
It's a very small.
So onward to Bernard. So that was pretty surreal to just run into people you know on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. Can't wrap my head around it. Here we are a little further from Mansell. You can take the Mansell Trail back. That'll take you back to the parking, which is a small loop. Or you can follow that sign at the bottom that we're doing. It says Great Notch. So we're gonna go up to Great Notch. Scramble down into the woods. It's beautiful though, and it's extremely well marked. You can see the trail markers really well, so it's lovely out here. Scramble out of a little wooded valley up some granite to a plateau. Razorback Trail to Great Notch, that's where we're gonna go. You can also follow the Razorback Trail wherever it goes, or then back where we just came from, Mansell Mountain. We're gonna keep following up to Great Notch. This is Great Notch facing north, and I think a little west, because I think that peak over there is Blue Hill, way on the horizon. A pleasant enough walk through the woods, bit of a scramble, nothing difficult. Brings you to Great Notch. There's even little wooden benches. It's clearly a crossroads of sorts. There's another little wooden bench, and there's a little box. I don't know what's in the box. What's in the box? Oh, people leave notes. I'll have to think of something to write. There's a trail, Bernard Mountain Trail. So that's what we're gonna follow, real well marked. Maybe I'll write something in the box. Cool and quiet in the woods going up Bernard, but it is steep. But it's beautiful. Feel like you're in the deep woods. It's nice. There's fields of moss among the trees. And it's super quiet right now. So now I think we've encountered a trail. Lots of roots, lots of rocks going up. So this scramble up Bernard is steep. This is climbing rocks. It's definitely hands and feet. And it looks like it just washed out. There used to be steps here and there aren't now, but we'll just keep going up and up and up. An overlook here on Bernard. That's Southwest Harbor down there. You can see little boats in the harbor. That big red building is where I take my recycling. I don't know that they really recycle it though. It's kind of a sad situation right now. Try not to think about it. So a not too strenuous from the Great Notch to the Little Notch. And we come to another crossroads, having come off the Bernard Mountain Trail. Down here it says Sluiceway Trail, or Mill Field, 0.9 miles, or 0.2 miles up to Bernard Mountain. So what I'm thinking I may do is go up to Bernard Mountain, this 0.2 miles, turn around and come right back here and take the Sluiceway Trail. This is the trail going up Bernard Mountain, and it is steep. Lots of rocks and water and fallen trees up there, so here we go. There's another little box up here at the Bernard Mountain overlook. You could write that you've been here. I'm not gonna write anything because since I live here and I'm putting this on the internet, so but good on y'all for making it up here. Now you're gonna be on the internet, so there you go. So just after the overlook, Bernard Mountain, nothing real to see here. It's like in the middle of the woods. And the overlook is heavily wooded, so I couldn't get a good shot facing north because of the trees. So rather than continue down the other side of Bernard, I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna go back to that Sluiceway Trail. So here I am. It was only maybe 15, 20 minutes to go up there, tag the top of Bernard, come back here to the Little Notch, and now I'm going to take the Sluiceway Trail, which is really just, it's still the loop. It's just a smaller loop than what I originally intended. So it's sort of like a circle within a circle. You could think of it as Ptolemaic hiking, something that I just invented. Just wander around in the woods making perfect circles. So we're going to follow this Sluiceway Trail, and that'll connect to where we were going. It just shaves off 2/3 of the distance. So I decided to stop and take a breather on this bed of moss and just have a rest, and I'm just listening to this mountain stream, and everything's quiet and still, and I don't know why you'd ever want to move. Don't know where else you'd want to be. This tree is full of spider webs. They're just kind of hard to see in the sun, I guess. I suppose it's the Sluiceway Trail because it follows this stream, very steep stream down a very steep path. So having descended the Sluiceway Trail, we're not going back that way. The Sluiceway Trail continues to what's called Millfield. Or down here at the bottom, you can take a separate trail called the Gilley Trail up to Great Notch. I don't want to go back up to Great Notch. I've already been up there. But I'm going to look down that Gilley Trail to see if it doesn't also go south. Intuition and a good map You could take the Great Notch Trail north, go back to the Sluiceway Trail where I just came from, or follow the Gilley Trail south, which is what I'm going to do right now. Still on the Gilley Trail, there was a sign that said crossroad to the reservoir, but we're not going that way. Yet another sign, Razorback Trail, Mansell Mountain. We've already been up Mansell. So we're going to continue down Gilley Trail. So we came off the Gilley Trail right over there out of the woods, and now we're on there's a dirt road with a turnaround. And over here, there's a sign that says Cold Brook Trail, Long Pond, 0.4 miles. So we're going to follow that back to Long Pond. Just an observation, this is a really easy trail back to Long Pond. Just an observation how the daylight is shorter because it's only 3:30, but this is already the sort of light that in the summer, you know, you can see these sort of shadows at 6 o'clock or so. So it's interesting. Fall is in the air, even though the leaves haven't changed much, and I've got some mountains to hike still, 5 or 6. Really near the beginning of our trip. The car's right around the corner. This was what confused the old people at the beginning of my journey that I talked about in Leg Minute. But you just follow this down to the perpendicular trail, real easy to get there. Back at Long Pond, fantastic hike. I really enjoyed the perpendicular trail up Mansell. Very pleasant in the woods and easy to follow. The trails were well marked. I did that little shoot up Bernard and then back to the Sluiceway Trail. And that was easy to find. And then just a little step over to the Gilley Trail to follow that back to Long Pond. So I definitely do this hike again, and there are many other ways up. So different trails to follow. So I'll probably be back here to do some more hiking because really like this area. And it was easy to find parking today. September 17th is a good time to be in the park. Next up is Champlain Mountain. I've done that one before, so I know what to expect, and some spectacular views up there. So that'll be fun. Hopefully really soon. Help me edit this video. Just keep a paw on my face. It's a good girl.